in the heart of a crowded city, where the streets buzzed with voices, carts clattering, and the smell of baked bread mingled with smoke, lived Mira and Armin. They were young, vibrant, and in love, yet their lives were defined by modest means. Mira spent her days creating delicate trinkets, handmade earrings, tiny charms, and embroidered pouches, which she sold at the local market. Armin worked at a small, dusty bookstore, organizing shelves, and recommending books to customers who came and went like fleeting shadows. Though their pockets were empty, their hearts overflowed with dreams. They shared quiet moments in their tiny apartment, Mira reading aloud while Armin listened, their hands brushing together, over a chipped wooden table, laughter echoing in the narrow hallway. Yet, life was never easy. Winter had arrived earlier than expected, and harsh storms reduced Mira's customers to almost none. Armin's bookstore faced fewer visitors, and their combined income barely covered the rent. Even simple comforts, like a warm meal or a candle in the night, became luxuries. But amidst the struggle, love grew stronger. They clung to each other, believing that sacrifice, though painful, could be a form of devotion. As the festival approached, the city transformed. Lights twinkled in shop windows, families hurried past with wrapped gifts, and the air was filled with anticipation. Mira and Armin wanted to celebrate, but money was scarce. Mira noticed a leather-bound notebook in a small, quiet shop. Its pages smelled of new beginnings, and she imagined Armin filling it with poems, ideas, and sketches. Her heart ached to give it to him, but she knew that buying it would leave them short for the week. Armin, on his way home, saw a delicate silver comb displayed in a window. Mira had admired such a comb long ago, and he imagined the joy it would bring her. Yet, it was expensive, and buying it meant sacrificing essentials. Each went home that night, silently wrestling with a choice. Should they choose comfort over love, practicality over sentiment, survival over sacrifice? Their hearts already knew the answer. That night, Mira sat by the window, looking at the falling snow. She whispered to herself, "Armin deserves joy, even if it costs me everything." Her hands trembled as she counted her savings. She decided she would give him the notebook, no matter what. Meanwhile, Armin stared at the comb, imagining Mira's smile. He remembered the first time they met at the bookstore, her laughter filling the room like sunlight. He thought, if giving this comb can bring her happiness, then I will endure the hardship. The night passed slowly. Neither slept much, their minds filled with worries about what sacrifices might bring, but also with the excitement of giving. On the morning of the festival, the city was alive with color. Mira and Armin agreed to meet at the park, their favorite spot where the cherry trees bloomed every spring. Mira handed Armin the notebook first. His eyes widened in surprise and joy. "Mira, this is perfect," he whispered, but his voice faltered. "But he spent so much. I worry about you." She smiled softly, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "I wanted you to know how much I love you. That's worth more than money, isn't it?" Then Armin gave Mira the comb. She gasped, her hands trembling as she touched its smooth silver surface. Tears welled in her eyes. "Armin, You shouldn't have. But I feel so loved." At that moment they realized it wasn't the objects themselves that mattered, but the sacrifices they represented. Their love was stronger, because each had willingly given up something precious for the other. Weeks passed, and life slowly improved. Mira's trinkets became popular, and Armin found more customers for the bookstore. Yet the story of their sacrifices remained etched in their hearts, a reminder of what love truly meant. Mira and Armin began helping others in small ways, sharing food with neighbors, tutoring children at the bookstore, and supporting friends in need. They discovered that selfless giving brought joy, not only to the recipient but also to the giver. One evening, Mira told Armin, "Do you remember the festival?" Armin nodded. "How could I forget? That day we learned something priceless." Mira smiled. "That the greatest wealth we can have is the love and sacrifice we give each other." Their friends and neighbors noticed the change. Mira and Armin's actions inspired others to be generous, kind, and selfless. Slowly, a small ripple of love spread through the community, proving that sacrifice has the power to touch lives far beyond what we imagine. Years later, Mira and Armin had a daughter, Layla. They often told her stories about the festival and the gifts, not for the sake of the objects, but to teach her the deeper lesson. True love is measured by what you are willing to give, even at a personal cost. Layla grew up understanding that wealth isn't measured in coins, but in empathy, generosity, and sacrifice. She watched her parents live these values every day, seeing how selfless acts could change hearts, build trust, and create happiness that endures. Mira and Armin never forgot the lessons of that winter. Life would always test them, but love, fortified by sacrifice, could withstand any storm. Their story became a quiet legend in their community, reminder that, like the Magi, the richest hearts are those willing to give, and the strongest love is born of sacrifice. Mira and Armin's journey reminds us that sacrifice is not a loss, but a gift to be treasured. When we give out of love, patience, and empathy, we receive something far greater: trust, joy, and the deep satisfaction of knowing we have enriched someone else's life. Every act of selflessness, no matter how small, carries the power to change the world, just as the Magi's gifts did long ago. And in our own lives, we can discover that the most priceless treasures are created not with wealth, but with the heart. In a small, riverside town, where the morning mist hung over the water like a gentle veil, lived Zara and Imran. They were young, full of dreams, and deeply in love, yet life had given them little comfort. Zara worked tirelessly at a small tailor shop. Every stitch she made was infused with care, turning simple cloth into garments that told stories. Imran ran a humble bookstore, where the scent of old pages mixed with new ones, inviting townspeople to lose themselves in stories of hope, courage, and love. Despite their modest incomes, they were rich in shared dreams. They often imagined a life where money didn't constrain them, where they could travel to far-off lands, own a home with a blooming garden, and perhaps have children to teach the lessons they had learned. But life's challenges were relentless. That year, A severe flood destroyed Zara's workshop and damaged Imran's bookstore. Their income vanished, leaving them with little to survive on. Friends and neighbors offered help, but both insisted on rebuilding through their own effort, believing that true love must withstand trials. As the Festival of Lights approached, the town transformed into a world of colors, music, and celebration. Streets were adorned with lanterns, and children ran laughing with sweets in hand. Yet Zara and Imran could only dream of participating fully. Zara longed to give Imran something meaningful. Something that would show him that, despite the hardships, love had no boundaries. In the corner of a small shop, she saw a delicate gold chain, simple but elegant. It was perfect for Imran. Her heart ached with desire and worry. Buying it meant sacrificing months of savings, but the thought of making him happy outweighed the fear. Imran, wandering through the town that same day, found a painting, a landscape that reminded him of Zara's favorite view of the riverside at dawn. It was exquisite, yet expensive. He hesitated. Should he prioritize survival, or give everything for the person who meant the world to him? His heart knew the answer. That night, both lay awake, thinking of the other. Fear, doubt, and love wrestled in their hearts. They realized that true love often asks us to give, even when it hurts. Zara spent hours by the window, the moonlight reflecting off the river, contemplating her choice. If he smiles, it will be worth everything I give up, she thought. Her fingers traced the gold chain again and again, imagining the warmth it would bring to his heart. Imran, in the dim light of his bookstore, touched the painting's frame. He thought about the meals he might forego, the small comforts he might lose, yet he felt a surge of certainty. Her happiness is worth every sacrifice, he whispered to the empty room. Neither spoke of their decision to the other, keeping the gift a secret. In that silence, their love grew stronger. It wasn't about the objects. They understood that love's truest form is measured not in wealth, but in the willingness to give one's all. The day of the festival arrived. The town square shimmered with lights, music, and the scent of delicious foods. Children danced with ribbons, and families exchanged gifts, laughter echoing through every street. Zara and Imran met at the old riverside bridge, where they had first confessed their love. Hearts racing, they exchanged wrapped gifts. Zara gave Imran the gold chain. His eyes filled with tears as he held it. Zara, it's beautiful. But this is so expensive. You could have used this money for so many things. Zara's eyes sparkled with love. I wanted you to know that happiness and love matter more than anything else. This is my heart in a gift. Imran handed Zara the painting. She gasped, covering her mouth in disbelief. Imran, you sacrificed so much for me. He took her hands in his. I did it because your joy is my life. Giving everything for love is not losing. It's living fully for each other. The couple embraced, tears mixing with laughter, realizing that the objects themselves were insignificant. Their love and sacrifices were what made the day magical. Months passed. Zara reopened her workshop, and Imran's bookstore gradually regained customers. The lessons of the festival remained in their hearts. True love is measured by the courage to give, even when it hurts. They began extending their generosity beyond themselves, helping neighbors rebuild after storms, mentoring children in the bookstore, and assisting those in need without expecting recognition. Their actions created ripples in the community, spreading a message of hope and selflessness. Zara often reminded Imran, "Sacrificing for love doesn't diminish us, it strengthens us and brings joy that no money can buy." Imran nodded. And each act of giving teaches others that love is not about wealth or possessions. It's about the heart and the courage to care. The years later, Zara and Imran had a daughter, Alina. They shared the story of their sacrifices, not the gifts themselves, but the love and choices behind them. Alina learned that life's most valuable lessons come from giving selflessly, from acts that reflect the deepest care for others. Through every storm, every struggle, and every challenge, Zara and Imran remained united. Their story became a quiet legend in the town, a testament to the beauty of giving everything for love. Their example inspired generations, proving that the richest lives are those measured by generosity, courage, and devotion. The story of Zara and Imran reminds us that true love is never measured by what we have, but by what we are willing to give. Giving everything for someone we love does not mean losing. It means creating a bond stronger than any hardship. Every act of selfless love carries the power to transform lives, not just for the recipient, but for the giver and everyone who witnesses it. The beauty of giving everything for love lies in the joy, trust, and legacy it leaves behind. A treasure far beyond measure. In a small riverside town, where sunlight glimmered on the water like scattered gold, lived Rania and Sami. Two childhood friends, yet from worlds apart. Rania came from wealth, a life of luxury, private tutors, fine clothes, and endless opportunities. But her wealth had also built walls around her heart, shielding her from the struggles of the ordinary world. Sami, in contrast, came from a humble home. He worked in a small bookstore, organized community events, and helped neighbors whenever he could. His life was modest, yet filled with laughter, love, and contentment. Despite the differences, the two shared a bond rooted in curiosity, mutual respect, and a desire to understand the meaning of life. The town's annual charity fair was approaching. It was a celebration where residents came together to help those less fortunate. Rania, accustomed to writing large checks anonymously, was asked to contribute personally, volunteering at the local orphanage. She hesitated. Visiting the orphanage would mean confronting the harsh realities she had avoided all her life. She feared the poverty, the sadness, the vulnerability she had never known. Sami, on the other hand, was already immersed. He spent long hours helping at the orphanage, cleaning, repairing, and tutoring children. He gave what he could: time, energy, and compassion. Curiosity and a quiet challenge from Sami nudged Rania to go. On her first visit, she walked through the crowded, worn rooms, and was struck by the children's laughter, resilience, and the warmth in their hearts despite the hardships. Sami's words echoed in her mind. "It's not about the money you give. It's about the love you offer." For the first time, Rania realized that wealth alone could never provide what these children truly needed: attention, care, and affection. Over the following weeks, Rania began spending more time at the orphanage. She taught children to read, listened to their stories, and helped cook meals. Every day, she faced discomforts she had never imagined: cooking for dozens of children, waking early, cleaning after long hours. Yet, with every challenge, she began to experience a joy far beyond what her wealth had ever given her. She saw smiles that no money could buy and gratitude that no material gift could replace. Sammy guided her patiently, showing her the smallest acts of kindness could have the largest impact. Listening to a child's fears, sharing a meal when there wasn't enough, reading stories aloud, and encouraging dreams. Rania's heart slowly opened. She understood that true riches were not in gold or possessions, but in empathy, love, and generosity. One stormy night, the river overflowed, flooding parts of the town, including the orphanage. The children were frightened, and their fragile home was damaged. Sammy worked tirelessly, organizing rescue efforts, distributing blankets, and calming the children. Rania, though initially overwhelmed, stepped up. She stayed through the night, helping everyone find safety, repairing damaged supplies, and comforting terrified children. During this crisis, Rania realized that giving from the heart often meant sacrifice, sleepless nights, emotional strain, and putting others' needs before one's own. She felt the truth of Sammy's words: money is a tool, but love and courage are treasures. By the end of the night, the orphanage was safe, and the children were comforted. But the real transformation had occurred within Rania. She had felt the weight of giving, and the beauty of giving selflessly. Weeks after the storm, the town witnessed something remarkable. Rania and Sammy's example inspired others to act. Wealthy residents began volunteering, not just donating money. People from all walks of life offered their time, energy, and skills. Rania found fulfillment in small acts: teaching children to write letters to their parents, organizing games to bring laughter, reading bedtime stories with patience and care. She began to understand that true richness comes not from what you have but from the love and effort you share with others. Her wealth could help, yes, but it was her heart that made the difference. Sammy noticed her transformation quietly. He smiled as Rania held the hands of a shy little girl, whispered encouragement, and wiped away tears. Not as a wealthy benefactor, but as a friend, teacher, and human being who truly cared. Months passed. Rania's wealth remained, but her heart had expanded in ways money could never achieve. She understood: true riches are measured by lives touched, not bank accounts. Happiness grows when shared, not hoarded. Sacrifice and selfless giving are more valuable than material wealth. Sammy and Rania's story became a lesson for the entire town. People spoke of their compassion, devotion, and how they showed that love, care, and selflessness are the most priceless treasures. Rania often reflected: I once thought money could solve everything, but I now know the heart is the greatest source of wealth. Everything I have pales in comparison to the richness I feel when I give and care. Sammy nodded. The world may measure success in coins and possessions, but the truly rich are those who give from their hearts. Years later, the orphanage thrived, the town grew closer, and Rania and Sammy continued their work. The children they helped grew into adults who carried the lessons of selflessness forward. Rania finally understood what she had been missing all her life: wealth without heart is empty. But love and sacrifice create treasures that last forever. The story of Rania and Sammy reminds us that true riches come not from the pocket, but from the heart. Generosity, empathy, and selfless action create lasting impact. Life's most meaningful treasures cannot be bought. They must be given. In every smile, every act of kindness, and every heart touched, the real wealth of life reveals itself.